Hey YouTube, Coppersan here, and welcome to the very first video of our Lost Ark class series, where we go over every class, show the skills, go over their strengths and weaknesses, and showcase the skill build that we're using. And in this video, we're covering the Gunlancer. The Gunlancer is a warrior class that specializes in being an absolute chat that can face tank attacks, provide shields and buffs for the teams, lower the enemy defenses, taunt bosses, and can also dish out a decent amount of damage. All of this is sacrificed for mobility and speed, but hey, you don't need to dodge much anyway since you're so tanky, so that's kind of fine sometimes. The Gunlancer's mama told him he was special, and she definitely was not wrong. Instead of dashing or rolling forward like literally every other class in the game, this class has a unique backwards dash. This works pretty well because the Gunlancer has a ton of attacks that deal additional damage when you're hitting the front of the enemy. You can see that when you see those words that the frontal attack appear when you're hitting an enemy. Gunlancer's identity skill can actually do two things as well. There's a purple meter that can be filled up by hitting monsters, and skills involving your shield, those are your blue skills, will fill it up even faster. You can then press the Z button to activate a shield that absorbs damage. Any damage you take drains the purple meter instead. This works against any attack except certain boss patterns that are like guaranteed one-shots. This ability is amazing when you're stuck in a tight corner or just feel like ignoring the boss for a while. Your movement speed does get cut in half though while the shield is active. But hey, who needs to move anyway when you can just face tank? This skill is a toggle, so no cooldown, so you can just go in and out of this mode as long as you have some meter available. But there is also another use of your shield meter. You can also press the X button to activate Battlefield Shield. You can then select and jump to a target location, dealing damage and launching enemies into the air. You'll then gain a shield depending on how much of your meter was filled up, and every party member within a 10 meter radius will get push immunity, and any damage dealt to them will be directed to you for 5 seconds. So make sure to not activate this with like a sliver of your meter left. But this skill can be super helpful to help your party members survive a nasty boss attack. So let's go over all the skills next, and I'll give you a small preview of what they can do. Your sharp gun lance is a pretty basic attack without any levels in it. You just snap your giant lance forward and deal some damage. This skill can be upgraded to, for example, swing your lance around you, pull in enemies and deal more damage, or you can fan out the attack, cause a bleed debuff and change the attack into a combo skill that can be used again for even more damage. I'll share which skill build I was using myself while leveling later in the video. Rising Gun Lance first stabs monsters and then shoots a bullet at them. This skill can be enhanced with various elements like lightning, fire and earth. So not only is this class the tank support DPS, it also mastered earth, fire and lightning bending as well. I think the next skill, Fire Bullet, doesn't require a lot of explanation about what it exactly does. This skill can be enhanced as well to, for example, take less damage when you're using the skill, to apply a burn, deal more damage, and to, for example, fire multiple attacks in a bigger range. Your dash upper fire skill is a combo skill that I personally use a lot in Chaos Dungeons. It has a relatively long cooldown but does decent damage, and this skill can be enhanced to buff your own damage for a few seconds, and you can, for example, increase the range of the skill. Your charged stinger skill, as the name suggests, is a charging skill that can be used to inflict a lot of damage on monsters if they stay still long enough. This skill can be enhanced to apply bleed debuff, weak point enhancement, and it can be changed to either a lightning based attack or add some bombardment to this skill. You'll need to spend some time charging, which doesn't always feel that nice to use though, in my opinion. This skill counter allows you when you anticipate an attack to block it and to counter immediately. This skill can be enhanced to stun monsters with lightning or even bombard them with your gun lance. On paper this seems like a nice skill, but I haven't really found myself using it a lot as of yet. Gunlance Shot is a skill that I used a ton while leveling, and I'm still using this in most Chaos Dungeons. It's a hold down skill that draws in monsters and can be enhanced to deal more damage or cause bigger explosions. It's a pretty good one in my opinion, and takes up a lot less time to charge than your charged stinger skill. Surge Cannon is a skill that you will unlock during your Awakening quest, and man, this is a fun one. It can be charged and needs to be stopped at the right time for it to actually work, but with a little help from the tripod system, the charging can be changed to a regular charge skill without that meter, and it can be augmented even further by to shoot a few shots or attack a large area around you. Next up are all blue skills, starting with Shield Bash. This is a close range attack where you bonk multiple enemies on the head with your shield. It's a combo attack that can be used multiple times for a few additional bonks. The bash skill is similar to shield bash, but only with a single harder bonk that stuns enemies. Similar to shield bash, doesn't have the greatest range, but it's pretty useful for giving monsters a slight behavioral correction with your shield. Both bash and shield bash can have debuffs that lower enemy defense when you hit the monster with this attack, so that can be quite convenient during raids. Leap attack is one of your most fun skills in my opinion. You jump upwards and smash down where your cursor is, and this attack can be enhanced with either earth or lightning elements, or it can be changed into a combo skill so you can bunny hop your enemies to death. This skill is also great if you want to get close to enemies or quickly get out of harm's way. Guardian Thunderbolt is also one of your main skills, great for clearing out multiple enemies, and it also electrocutes your enemies, leaving them in a short state of shock, which makes for easy pickings. This skill can be modified to shoot even more lightning bolts and increase the range of the attack. Besides a lance that also has a gun and a massive shield, the Gunlancer can also reel in monsters with their hook chain, pulling in enemies that are a bit further away, so they're in range to get a good bonk on the head with your shield. And I'm not sure what to think of shield charge yet. It is pretty useful for getting out of an attack, but that's about it. The skill can be enhanced to also give a shield when you use a skill, and the dash can be shortened to attack more often. I'm using it myself right now when I'm raiding, but I'm not too sure yet how I feel about it. Shout of Hatred, on the other hand, is like one of your most important skills. This skill taunts enemies, causing them to attack you instead of your team members. Super important in high level raids to interrupt some bosses. This skill can be enhanced to also give yourself a shield, which is great since all enemies, will be attacking you. And you can buff your party members' damage and damage on frontal and back attacks, which is also a pretty nice buff. Then there is Shield Shock, which is a small AoE attack that debuffs enemies' movement speed and deals damage. This skill can be enhanced to apply even more debuffs and can be changed into a combo skill for even more shock factor. The final skill the Gunlancer has is called Nalasia's Energy. This skill is purely a party skill that reduces the damage taken by party members. It can be enhanced to also remove harmful effects from party members and give all nearby party members a shield. If you're raiding, make sure to use this skill as often as possible. It's super good. And your final skill is your Awakening skill. This skill just does a ton of damage. Fully recovers your shield meter, stuns monsters that are inside the area when you attack, and all party members inside the aura will take 40% less damage and become immune to pushes and debuffs. A very useful skill to help out party members and dish out quite a bit of damage yourself. While leveling up, I was experimenting a lot with my skills, and I recommend you to actually do the same. This was the setup I was using at level 20. By the way, I'm not claiming this is the best setup or best build by any means. I totally recommend you to really try out different skills and setups to find out what suits your playstyle the best. This was the setup I was using by level 30. Since the real party play begins when you reach level 50, you can really get away with taking more selfish skills and just focus on dealing more damage. This was my setup at level 40. Right now at level 50 I'm running with two different skill setups. This one is for if I'm questing or running chaos dungeons. This one's more focused on dealing damage and clearing out mobs. I left most of my party buffs at home so I can just blow up some mobs instead. Again, feel free to experiment what feels good for you, and one downside of this setup and kind of this class in general is that the cooldowns can be quite long, so you'll find yourself regular attacking every now and then to still deal damage in between your skills. And when I'm running, for example, Guardian raids, I'm focused more on supporting and tanking damage using this skill setup. I can apply shields and debuffs to my party members while debuffing the boss monster and taunting it to get it away from my party members. This run, by the way, was super scuffed. One party member did not bring any potions and we had one AFK, but we still managed to clear the end. For engraving, so far I'm only using the combat readiness engraving. As soon as I go into my tank mode, I can tank even more and I get 4% more damage for 10 seconds. That stacks up to 3 times if I do get hit in my shield mode. Plus all my normal skills deal more damage. The Lone Knight engraving isn't bad either if you want to focus more on dealing damage instead of surviving. But if you're just starting out, being able to tank a lot is like pretty useful for learning and ignoring boss mechanics. So with your common engravings, I myself am thinking about unlocking Master Brawler. I think this engraving works out pretty well for this class. And I might also want Supercharge, which is an engraving to boost your charging skills. I haven't looked too much into runes yet, as I only literally have one so far myself. Nowadays I spend more time queuing than actually playing the game. But I would probably go for anything that reduces cooldown and bolsters my damage. So far I'm really enjoying my time on the Gunlancer. Super tanky, very easy to play. You need to be in front of the monster all the time though, which can be quite difficult because, you know, your instinct always tells you to dodge out of attacks. Well, that isn't always necessary. But hey man, it's so easy to play this class. The downtime between skills is a bit less nice though. I'm regular attacking quite often, so maybe I'll swap out my skills even more and experiment a bit more. But yeah, that's the setup that I've been using so far, and I'm kind of liking it. I even got like #1 MVP on some Chaos Dungeons, so that was pretty nice. But hey, that was all for today. What do you think of the Gunlancer? Let me know in the comments. And as always, many thanks to our members for making these videos possible. Thanks to Niels, Coninck, Raar, maar waar, Sebastian, Hanoy, FLX, Ryalias, Terry Kim, Vareese, Mora, Wiley, Historycanon, BackSpaceOTI, Saffronyx, Lorenzo, BG Extremes, Anwar NHI, Frank Bouguet, Ziggy Deer, Flidiot, Beamer WT, Knifesu, Chen125, Cloudfix, Gusus Rodriguez, Froggy, Gleason, Brandon Cam, Vira, Trevor, Michael Machaka, Ratius, Justin Vale, Silvio Nato, Stevie Zhang, Afterlord_MS, Heopan, ceemak, Striker Elk, Martin Panzik, Niu, Taiwan Pan, Victor Sunstrom, Radicals the Alien, Riser RU, Gummy Bullet, Lucky Beats, Lovebird, Rev Soli, Sir Tito 655, Mathias Simonsson, Mr. Narc, Galando Balavia, I'm disappointed, my name is Coppersan, and I'm super cute XOXO, PC Game Life, Yo Mama, Dante Victory, Stanislaus Sumo Vegas, Level 241, Paladin Reboot, Caveman, oh yeah, Crazy Ladette, and The Passenger. Thank you all so much for watching, stay safe, and happy gaming!